TMA friends, today's episode is all heart. In-house trademark work isn't just filings and enforcement. It's advocacy. It's judgment calls. It's being the person who protects something people genuinely care about. And that kind of work is personal. People don't always fall in love with the products. They also fall in love how the brands make them feel. Welcome to today's episode for the love of brands. The brands I love, well, they're clear, confident, quality, and never try to be something they're not. The best brands don't chase everyone. They resonate deeply with the right people and they earn trust. And that's when loyalty happens. And at that point, you're not just buying a product, you're buying into a belief. That's real brand love. So when we say for the love of brands, it's really about love for clarity, consistency, and connection. Welcome to the TMA Talk Show. The TMA Talk Show will take you into the heart of the TMA community, highlighting the trademark administrators as a force to be reckoned with within the intellectual property landscape. Hosted by yours truly, Emily Quackenbush, along with several surprise guest hosts, the TMA Talk Show will focus on the IP community, collaboration, and the unique contributions of each episode's special guests. This is the TMA Talk Show. Because while the rest of the world is busy building, marketing, and launching, the trademark administrator is quietly, or not so quietly, making sure you still own the name you're so proud of. Oh, and hey, of course, this goes without saying, but All Legal is a legal tech company and not a law firm. Nothing here in this episode should be considered legal advice, and this presentation expressed the views of our speakers and not necessarily those of Alt Legal, the TMAE, or the views of the hosts. We could not be more excited to have two amazing guests who live brand responsibility every day. First, I'm thrilled to welcome Adraea Brown, Assistant General Counsel of Trademarks at Harley-Davidson. Adraea leads the company's in-house trademark team and oversees a global portfolio of more than 5,000 marks, along with enforcement, litigation support, and legal strategy for Harley's multi-million-dollar apparel and licensing business. She spent nearly a decade with the company building and protecting one of the most iconic lifestyle brands in the world and is known as both a sharp legal leader and trusted business partner across the organization. Adraea, we're so happy you're here. And joining her is Anna Kim, Head of IP Legal at WEBTOON. Anna brings a fantastic mix of entertainment and brand side experience with past roles at Red Bull, NBC Universal, and Fox, working across content, brand protection, and enforcement. She actually began her career as a trademark paralegal and worked her way up through operations and legal roles, so she understands brand protection from every angle. Now she leads IP strategy for one of the world's largest digital storytelling platforms, supporting creators and fans across the globe. Anna, welcome. We're so thrilled to have you. Thank you both for being here. All right. Now that we know a little bit about you, we're going to go ahead and just jump into some quick rapid fire questions. First things that come to mind. Adraea, describe your brand in one word.
Iconic.
Iconic. Why?
It's like when people think of motorcycles, most of the time, the first image that comes to their mind is Harley-Davidson. Certainly we say the word iconic all of the time inside of the company, so that was the first thing that came to mind. It's just one of those people say it's Americana in one brand.
Absolutely. I agree. And Anna, your brand in one word?
For the WEBTOON brand, I'd say stories.
Stories. Yes, absolutely. That's very relatable. And also, Anna, what's your favorite trademark that you've ever secured?
Gosh, that's a tough one for me. I have a hard time with favorites, but I've always really enjoyed working on non-traditional marks. So probably one of the sound marks. I won't say which one because there are a couple that I really enjoyed, but yeah, I'll just say sound marks.
Okay, fair enough. Adraea, clearance or enforcement? Which do you prefer?
If I had my pick, I'd do enforcement. Though I do more clearance work technically, but yeah, enforcement is definitely that's it.
Okay, okay. That's a good one. I could imagine you on your Harley-Davidson being very enforcement-like. Do you own a motorcycle?
I do. I
Okay,
have
awesome.
one. It is sitting in my garage, barely written, but I own it.
Okay, cool. Very cool. That's awesome. Okay, let's see. Pick one brand, not one you currently or previously worked on, that you admire. Adraea?
Disney.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I have a 3-year-old right now in particular, and she is all things Disney, and so I'm getting more entrenched in it as an adult. And yeah, I really admire what they do and how they're able to get me to spend money voluntarily.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. They're good at that. What's her favorite character or
Uh,
characters?
right now she's in the Spidey universe, so
Oh,
Spidey and his
nice.
amazing friends. Yeah, the villains though, that for some reason Green Goblin is her favorite.
Love it. Love it. Anna, how about you?
Oh, Disney's a really good one, and I'm going through something similar as well with my 2-year-old. But I have to say, I find the Costco and Kirkland signature brands really fascinating. It's just, they have consistent messaging as strong brands and span such a wide range of goods and services. So, I think there was a similar question I faced a while ago, like if I had unlimited funds to spend in one store, what store would I pick? And I had to pick Costco because I felt like I could just live in there and have, all the food, and I could buy a car, be insured, and you could have it all under that one brand.
That is so true. And then you could just eat and sit in there because they
Yep.
have furniture on occasion.
Uh-huh.
You could play. They have
Yep.
during the summer, they have they have sporting equipment. You could clothe yourself. They have
Oh
clothes
yeah,
there
you
on
could
occasion.
exercise. You could
Yeah, you could read. They have books there on occasion. What else do they
I
have?
fully
You could,
support travel.
yes. Oh my
travel.
gosh.
You
Yeah.
could redo your
Get your
kitchen.
roof done.
Read to your kitchen.
Get new
You could do.
tires. Yeah, I mean, you could, get a new diamond ring.
Oh my gosh, that is so true. I never thought about it that way.
All the
Well,
electronics you need.
that is so true. This is so materialistic, but if I had funds to spend with no limit, oh my God, I would so just walk into a Louis Vuitton store. That's so shallow, I know, but
No, no, that's when I thought of this question initially, I was thinking, okay, I do love my luxury brands, but you know, Costco, I feel like will cover everything for me.
it truly is all in one. Gosh, that's just a read on my
Yes.
character, though. This is so bad. How shallow of me. But that's not really all me. Yeah, so I'm more than that. There's more depth to me than that, than just Louis Vuitton, I promise. Okay. Anna, what's something about your job that would surprise people?
So I think, web comics are still pretty niche. So a lot of folks that may not be familiar with WEBTOON may have already consumed WEBTOON or Wattpad content and not even realize it. We have a lot of AV adaptations on Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus. So I think that surprises a lot of folks.
Adrea, what continues to surprise you or others about your job?
Uh, I think it has to do with the passion of our riders and customers. I knew of Harley Davidson before I started. A lot of people know of Harley Davidson. I wasn't into motorcycles or really the brand in general, but the more I continue working there, I'm seeing just everyone. It's more than just a machine, a motorcycle. People are like, I Harley is like my childhood memory. I grew up with Harley. Harley is this, Harley is that. So there is a deep sense of connection and ownership that people who are very much enthusiasts have for the brand. So.
Absolutely. Brand is sensitivity. People definitely connect and love their brands for sure.
Yes.
Last rapid fire question. What brand do you remember most from your childhood? Adraea, let's start with you.
Um, it has to be Pillsbury. You remember the Pillsbury Doughboy? Like I think the Doughboy still exists, but um I was thinking about it, like what do I connect with? My dad used to work for Pillsbury. He like worked in it was like a flour mill that they had, and so he used to like make their flour, and like Pillsbury was a big part of my life growing up because of that. I just remember seeing the little doughboy and be like, my dad works there, that idea. So that's really just the thing that I remember because Pillsbury kept me fed.
Totally. And now it's a sourdough thing, right? The flour mills that just probably contribute to all the people who've been making homemade sourdough um, at home
Yeah,
since the
for
pandemic,
sure.
right? Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's kind of the
absolutely.
first thing I learned about because Pillsbury ended up selling. So like Pillsbury is now just a brand. It's not a company. So it was like the first my understandings happened when I was a kid. And I was like, what do you mean you don't work for Pillsbury anymore, but you're still making Pillsbury flour? I don't understand. So that was kind of my introduction into that.
And that's the whole thing too. Like brands just evolve and grow, yet they stay in your memory and your mind and they connect you to something that happened in your life. And here you are
Yeah.
talking about it today. And just a side note, folks that are listening, before we started recording, I was munching on some homemade sourdough bread that I had just brought out of the oven right before we started recording. So that's where that flour note came from. And I truly remember Pillsbury as well, because I remember the commercial with the little chubby dough
Yeah.
person, and he would get poked and he'd go, hey. Do you remember that
Yeah.
commercial? I totally remember that.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Anna, how about you?
Yeah, Pillsbury's a good one.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about that character, but the second you mentioned it, I thought of that as well. The little, I'm not going to do the noise, but that's a sound mark, right? Um, it- I think I got to go back to Disney for my childhood. It was so mainstream yet felt special at the same time. Also Sanrio, and thinking about it, I wonder if it's because you have these strong umbrella brands that then had within their universes these like different characters that had different features that appealed to different people, so you can find connection with someone else who loved that same character. And I think that's one thing that's really powerful about these brands, where they're like everywhere yet feel special at the same time, and kind of feel unique, even though a brand is really supposed to connect with a lot of different people and not just you. So I find that interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, do you remember the game? Well, it's still around. Connect Four, the checkers that you drop into little slots. Well, I'm dating myself here, but there was a commercial back then where the brother and sister are playing the game. You probably were, I think you're both younger than me, but where he is playing the game with his sister and his sister wins, and then he goes, "Pretty sneaky, sis." And I just remember that so vividly because he gets mad that the sister wins, and I'm just sitting there going, "You're just so hurt just because your sister won and she's a girl and blah blah blah. What a jerk brother." Anyway, that's what I remember of that. But I think who owns Connect Four? Gosh, I should know
Is it
this because
Hasbro or
I think
Mattel?
it's Hasbro.
Probably one of the
Yes.
two. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Hasbro, and I own that game, and I play. I don't have a brother, but I have a sister, but um, I just remember so vividly that game stuck in my mind because the brother was so hurt that he got lost to a girl. So, haha, that's what I remember about that. But anyway, that's funny that brands just, bring you back to, when you were younger, and they just stick with you as you, go through life. The love of brands. All right, let's dive in. Similar to our last rapid fire question and relating to the theme of this episode for the love of brands, when you hear that phrase, what does it actually mean to you personally? Anna, let's start with you.
It's a connection. So, a connection with the community that shares your love of a particular brand. Kind of like remembering those brands from childhood. So I did just buy everything put Choco and hide it in my room for no one else to see. I wanted to take it to school and connect with other kids who liked Sanrio characters and maybe engage in healthy discourse over whether Hello Kitty or Keroppi was better. And yeah, I think that's the powerful part about brands. It's the connection. And I loved what you said earlier about the best brands not chasing everyone and that they resonate deeply with the right people. So yeah, brands aren't bespoke. They're meant to be recognized by many. And so there's innately that sense of connection built into strong brands.
Absolutely. My sister and I particularly loved Little Twin Stars of Sanrio. Do you remember the little twins? Yeah, they were so cute. That's what I remember. Adraea, how about you?
I have to agree with Anna. It's hard to say something else. I mean, it is the connection, and it's far deeper than whatever the product or service is usually, because most people tie it back to something. Using Harley as an example, it's most people aren't like, oh, I remember my first bike because it had this engine in it. They're like, I remember that bike and the ride that me and my dad went on, right? Or I remember that, the feeling of being picked up on a motorcycle that first time, or sharing if it's something else. I remember sharing Oreo cookies with my grandfather, right? It's about bringing people together. It is the connection. It's about it being part of their lives and just contributing to a common connection point. That's really what it is. So I think that's how I think about it and how people end up loving it. And so when I think about why I love brands and why I love working for brands, it's not solely because of the company or solely because of the product, but it's how I feel like I'm able to connect and be part of like someone's life, right? Someone's fond memories, someone's, something else that's far greater than just making money.
Wow. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. And it's fascinating too. It's a fascinating human connection that we don't really think about every day, but it's happening all the time. All right. A lot of this job is internal advocacy, like partnering with marketing, guiding teams, and sometimes being the voice of reason. How do you protect the brand without always feeling like the no person? Like, no, you can't do this. Have you actually thought about this? This is a risk. Anna, what do you say about that?
That's a great question. I try to focus on alternative ways to accomplish the same goals without harming the brand. Also, embracing flexibility when business goals require moving beyond the comfort zone of a standard safe approach to brand protection. So, sometimes you have to be like, here's the rule, and then somebody wants to bend it. And then you work together, trying to figure out how do we allow that without breaking anything. So yeah, I think it's just problem solving.
Do you think that the bending of the rule is purely out of passion as well for the brand and the love of wanting to, show the brand and reach people out there?
Yeah, that's a really good point. That usually it's helpful to remember that, you know, the teams you're working with outside of legal, they love the brand just as much as you do, maybe even more. So the goals are the same. And it's not just about saying, no, that's not how you're supposed to use the brand, or no, that's going to harm the brand. It's thinking, what are we trying to accomplish? How can we get there in a way that accomplishes the same goals? And sometimes you might have, as legal, you might have to let go of certain things. And I really do try to take off that legal hat sometimes and view things even just as a regular consumer, and think through, how would this really play out? What's the real harm here, not just theoretical? And then communicating with the stakeholders on like what the real risks are. And sometimes you might share a bit of information that helps the non-legal folks think of other ideas that, you know, you might not have been able to think of on your own because you didn't know that they were doing this other thing. So it's just about communication and working together to find a solution.
Right. And also working with those creative minds a lot of the time, um, and getting them to see that their creativity can also be a legal mindset as well, so that you alleviate the risk for them. So, yeah, absolutely. Adraea, can you share a moment where you had to make a tough judgment call? You know, one of those it depends situations where there wasn't a clear legal answer?
It's like every day, it feels like. So many of the kind of to Anna's point, so many times it feels like there's not like you're trying to protect the brand, but there's not a clear definitive line. You're trying to stay on like kind of the best side and mitigate the risk the best you can. So it's hard. I'm thinking like what is a time where I had to make a tough decision that wasn't purely like it happens. I can't think of one that is bigger than the other. Well, one that was kind of pretty legal. I mean, we get into you're making clearance calls all the time, right? When you're clearing names and you're looking at it. I've looked at some situations and technically it's a legal call, but really it can be subjective, right? I'm sure we've all looked at a mark and you've looked at some similarities and you're like, this isn't similar at all. Like I think like I think we're okay here. And then you go back a week later and you're like, why did I say this was okay? This is like not a good idea. Like we might get sued tomorrow. Like I don't feel good about this at all. Um I do that all the time and I have to try to stop worrying about it, because it is what it is, and ultimately, like it's legal guidance, but it's also a business risk. Like how comfortable is the company in taking that risk? And that's what I feel like is part of it all the time. So, and it's not a good answer, and I apologize for not giving a good like specific moment, but I feel like it happens. It happens all the time, and to try to delineate the business from the legal in-house sometimes it's too difficult because you always have to be kind of thinking together, except for maybe creative is a little less maybe not. I don't know, waffling.
Both of your brands have really passionate communities. How does that loyalty change how you think about brand protection? I mean, WEBTOON being the world's largest digital comic platform and storytelling service, this is where users can discover, read, and create web comics. And Harley-Davidson, the iconic, most desirable motorcycle and lifestyle brand in the world, renowned for producing heavy, custom style cruiser motorcycles. Anna, let's start with you.
So, keeping in mind that creators are at the core of our ecosystem. So, there is no Webtoon without creators, and Webtoon as a brand also means something special to our creators and fans. So I do try to view brand protection issues, not just as a legal professional, but as a regular consumer, as a Webtoon fan. I'm not a Webtoon creator, but I try to put myself in the shoes of one when I'm considering, certain actions to take. Um, that may not necessarily change the general approach to brand protection. We still have to do our job to protect our brands, but I think it can help with education or just being more prepared and aligned with our PR or other business teams with messaging. And yeah, I just think it's important to think about how things can be perceived by those creators and fans that have that deep emotional connections to our brands.
Absolutely. Yeah. Adraea, how about you?
I would say something very similar to Anna. We end up having a kind of kind of two, let's divide and say we have two types of infringers. One are just people who want to make money off of us. which everyone has. And then you have another type, which are people who love the brand and they thought, what they were making was pretty cool, or what they were doing was pretty, like they're trying to pay homage or give honor to the brand, which is wonderful. Like we like that connection, but we also can't allow it. So because we have so many enthusiasts and fans who are infringing, we have to take a different approach with them. We don't treat them like a third party just out here trying to counterfeit, right? There's a lot of education involved. Sometimes there is a delicate touch. We're being nice. We're picking up the phone. We don't want to be big bad Harley because we want to keep you in the brand, right? We don't want you to be upset with us. We want you to understand why we're saying what we're saying or doing what we're doing. And sometimes that also involves getting our communications team involved or our PR teams. Like, hey, we have to go talk to, this entity over here. Like I remember one entity that was um, they were like a nonprofit raising money for families of firefighters who had died in the line of fire, right? Who had died during, like, on duty. And then we're going to be like, hey, could you stop using our marks? It's like, whoa, and we don't, it's not that we like to do that, but we have a role and responsibility as brand owners. So always walking that kind of line and path. And I think it works out pretty well. And almost everyone is understanding. We take the time to like, wow, thank you. We appreciate that. And we try to involve them. Like we say, like, you're actually helping the brand that you love to stay strong. And that seems to help, and they feel like they're part of it, and then they start reporting infringements and telling on anyone else that they find out there also infringing. So it certainly is a delicate balance, but it's pretty cool to see as well and get an opportunity to talk to so many people who the brand's impacted.
I love that because they're loving you, you're loving them back, you're giving them a little education, everybody's kind of winning, and you're
Yeah,
showing love, and a lot of times it's education. They're just trying to do a good deed, and education is power. When you show them why it can't be done, there's more of an understanding, and they feel empowered, and they're going to love your
100%.
yeah, and they're going to love your brand more, even more so. So that's a great example of loving a brand, and then the brand loving you back. That's very powerful. uh, they won't forget that either. That's
I
love
hope
right
not.
there. Yeah, yeah. That's love right there. That's great. So, as we know, this work can be nonstop. How do you sustain your energy and passion over time and avoid burnout? And does your brand ever feel stale to you, or is the love of your brand endless? Adraea, let's hear from you.
Sure. So avoiding burnout, like that is, if someone has the key to that, I would love to know that for like a going forward. But you have to take breaks from work. You have to take time for yourself. You have to do those things right outside of work, which are, pretty. I think that's standard across the board. I think you can't work all the time. This job can consume you. The infringements or whatever, the work is always there. So that is that. But in terms of the brand, and I've worked for Harley for 10 years. It'll be 11 years later this year. And every day is new and exciting. Like I can't even say that there's a stale day. Even when I've dealt with a similar issue, it's never the same as it was the day before. And the people around me at work keep me energized. The passion that everyone has for the brand, my team, everyone just wanting to do a good job. That's pretty exciting. Coming out with new things, talking to creatives. If you ever are down for a moment, talk to your marketing team, like, and just ask them what they have going on. I promise you'll be energized. You might be slightly annoyed depending on what it is too, but you'll walk away feeling energized because they generally have some passion there, as long as you get and are able to separate, like, it's still a job, it's still work. You can't let it consume you. And I think the best brand practitioners are those who are not consumed and are not super fans of the brand so that you don't miss blind spots. So I say do your work, take some time away, and certainly also make sure you have your connection points at your job.
Yeah, that's right. I part of my career was also in-house, and I was the IP global manager at one point. And I made sure that I was friends with the marketing team and the VP managers and the product line managers. And I love that tip, going to talk to marketing, because they're a different breed, right? They're so enthusiastic, they're very creative, and they have to be your friends, right? If you're in legal.
Yeah.
And that's a great tip for those of you in-house folks. Make friends with those marketing folks. And I used to say that as well, but that's a great reminder. Um, so great tip. I love that because you need them. You need
Yeah.
them just as much as they need you. So I love that. Good job. Mentorship is such a big part of the TMA community. How are you each helping develop the next generation of brand leaders? And do you feel that they'll love these brands just as much as you? Anna, what do you have to say about that?
You know, I've been really fortunate to have a lot of great mentors support me throughout my career. And when I think of mentorship, you know, I think before I used to think it was about like getting tips, information, like more educational, so to speak. But looking back, I think the most impactful mentors for me have been the ones that made me feel more confident and empowered to step out of my comfort zone. So I keep that in mind when I'm talking to others who are in the space or you know trying to develop their careers within the trademark community or even just you know legal in general. That it's not so much about like sharing like tips or information, but more like making them feel empowered to step out of their comfort zone. Like you don't have to just stay in your lane. Like you can keep exploring, doing something new that excites you. And I feel like I've seen people really um, blossom and grow more when they feel that empowerment. When you're more involved in the different projects, like you feel more committed and
Okay.
kind of like that love grows.
When
But
you're more involved
like,
in,
yeah, just you know, giving opportunities to be involved in different projects gives more exposure to working on brands in like different ways. So then like that's another way to really like love the brands.
yeah, 100%. And also, if someone ever tells you to stay in your lane, do the exact opposite. Like make that lane change. Really, I mean, you know, do it. Absolutely. Adrea, same question for you, but I get a sense that the next generation of brand leaders might be less impressed by legacy and more driven by impact. I mean, Harley has been around since 1903, officially incorporated in 1907, I believe. Do you agree, or does this change approach your mentorship style at all?
I agree that younger leaders might be different things might drive them, but it doesn't necessarily change my approach. Because at the end of the day, it's like the work is still the work and the opportunities are still the opportunities. I loved Anna's answer. To this day, I feel like whenever I am asked to be a mentor, like I participate in like formal mentorship programs, and I'm always like, yes, I'm happy to do that. And then I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Right? Like, what are the things that we're supposed to talk about, or what are the items that the person's looking for? And then I just end up showing them things or inviting them to opportunities or saying, giving them some level of advice that it's nothing super formal, and it's amazing. And I'm always looking for mentors myself. Usually I'm like, I can't be a mentor. I'm the mentee. I need someone to still teach me um, how to do those things. But the biggest, the biggest joy, or the biggest, it's not a joy, like a gem. or the most valuable part of it is just making it realistic and pulling back the curtain on this idea of what something is. Because that's really the biggest issue, is that most people have an idea of what something is, and it's far bigger than what it is, or it's like far more intimidating than what it actually is. I think we've all been afraid of like, well, when I get to this level, then I'm supposed to know how to present to these people. I'm supposed to know how to talk to them. I'm supposed to have great ideas. And at some point, you get in the room with those same people and you realize that none of them have great ideas, or the great ideas are no better than yours, right? Everyone is a person, and people are people, and we're all people. So it's, that's what I'm like, what Anna said, it's giving the opportunities, it's opening up a door and saying, come sit next to me in this meeting and you can see what happens. It's saying, here's a new project. Why don't you go and work on it? Or just, why don't you come on a call with me? And that is, I think that resonates all around. It resonates with people who are younger, older, who don't have opportunities, who just don't know. And I think that's the right way to look at it, is to say, can you help? Can I help give you an experience that you wouldn't otherwise have or didn't have? Small or big.
Absolutely. This is perfect. Yes. I was just going to say experience, realistic, and the work is the work. Like I just couldn't agree more. The work is the work, but the experience and being realistic is not the work. You can dive in, you can go through your docket, you can do all these filings, you can do all the enforcement, you can do all the clearance, but the experience and the real part of it, you is not on your docket. It's not laid out for you. You have to actually go through it. I'm mentoring someone right now as well. And I need to be a mentee as well. Like I need someone to mentor me every day. Like, I've been doing this forever, but the person that I'm mentoring right now, she's fantastic and she's so bright and she goes through her docket. But I'm more like, you know what? Let's go through this experience together, because it's not all about what's on the paper and what you see in our docketing system. You got to experience how to deal with this attorney. You have to experience how to deal with this examiner at the USPTO. You have to experience, it's about going through it. Yeah, these are great answers. I love it. Thank you.
So often we're focused on just a small piece of work, right? So we have a certain area that we play in, a lane that we play in, right? Like I have someone on my team who's responsible for docketing, right? But using that example, that's the lane that she plays in, and she doesn't always understand, or wasn't understanding, how this all fit into the bigger scope. And that can be so useful, just to show something that you think is completely unrelated in theory to that role is all part of the big picture. And that's another way to like make sure that you're bringing someone along, for them to understand how their work actually supports the bigger picture, and then they usually care about it a bit more. So when you were talking about the younger generation and impact, and it's like all of the pieces all of the pieces play a role, right? It's a big puzzle, and everyone's part matters. Everyone's piece matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And I often bring up situations or discussion points like, for example, I work at a law firm. Do you know why we bill? We bill not only to meet our billable quota, to the person that I'm mentoring, but do you know why we bill? Like, would you like to know about the business module? It's just stuff like, there's a bigger picture. Do you know why we're enforcing this? Do you know why we're opposing this? Instead of, hey, there's a deadline, go figure out how we're going to meet that deadline. It's such a bigger picture than that. So it's about the experience and why we're doing what we're doing. And I think that has a lot to do with mentoring someone, and why we're doing what we're, why we get to, from point A to point B, and et cetera, et cetera. Fostering mentorship also means, like, if you see someone who might be willing to take advantage of an opportunity, seek it out. Don't wait to ask to be a mentor. Seek it out. If someone is willing and has the drive and is bright and has the opportunity to actually take it on, go for it. Ask them, hey, you want to take this on? I think you'd be really good at it. Don't wait to be asked to mentor someone, take it on, imagine what they could do with it. It's an opportunity for the company as well. It's an opportunity for the brand to take it on and see if this person might just drive with it and be super successful with it. That's another way to be a good mentor. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with our listeners before we wrap up?
I would just say, I mean, with the For the Love of Brands theme in it, I think of what we're doing, right? As trademark professionals, sometimes it can feel like we're not necessarily doing like humanitarian work or making the world better, or I don't know, that's maybe it's just me and I'm projecting. Like I'm just here making money, right? But that's not the case. We are actually making memories, and we're all somehow part of people's lives and part of their day to day. So never take that for granted, and never stop thinking about, what the work you're doing, not like how the work you're doing now will impact people for potentially a lifetime. So, we're all part of that machine. It's all part of the process, and just keep doing what you're doing.
That's right, 100%. It's the love brand machine. At the TMA Talk Show, we like to highlight a TMA or someone in the TMA community who has inspired our guests. Someone who is a huge supporter of the community. Maybe they have helped our guests in some way personally in their careers, or have helped others, or they are a leader for other TMAs. This episode's inspirations are Elizabeth Saxon. Elizabeth Saxon is a lead trademark paralegal at Harley-Davidson. Elizabeth began her IP career 25 years ago, starting in patent litigation, and was given the opportunity to expand her work into trademarks and brand protection. In 2013, she joined Harley as a trademark paralegal, and since then, she has been honored to support the continued legacy of the iconic brand for more than a decade. Elizabeth is a proud Midwest native with a deep passion for nature, conservation, and native plants. When she's not in her gardens, she can be found knitting, puzzling, or working to improve her painting skills. Elizabeth is especially grateful for her colleagues, friends, and mentors within this group for their years of support, guidance, and encouragement, and continues to state that the community, collaboration, and connection of TMAs is truly inspirational. Elizabeth is incredibly thankful to be a part of such a talented and dedicated group of professionals. We could not agree more, Elizabeth. Ella Worthington is an associate analyst in the brand protection team at Harley-Davidson, supporting efforts to protect the iconic brand and enforce its trademarks globally. Ella started her brand protection journey in 2022, and since then, her career has focused on problem solving, collaboration, and supporting the systems that keep Harley-Davidson enforcement running smoothly and efficiently. Not a day goes by where she doesn't learn something new about the wonderful world of trademarks. Ella is inspired most by fellow TMAs by the way they keep everything moving, sometimes working behind the scenes, but always making a meaningful impact for the entire team. So very true, Ella. We could not have said it better ourselves. Jernez Owens. Jernez Owens is Director, Intellectual Property on the Brands and Content team at NBC Universal Media, LLC, and oversees the team of paralegals managing trademark clearance, prosecution, and enforcement worldwide for all NBC Universal businesses across the globe. On her off time, you can find her playing video games and editing content for the TMA Talk Show, for which she does truly amazing work. Thank you, Jernez. Jernez is constantly inspired by the TMA community and loves the camaraderie and support we give one another. Similarly, we are all inspired by her work and would love to have a fraction of her talent. Congratulations, Jernez. Join us for episode 15 as we celebrate International Women's Day. We will be chatting and recognizing the women whose leadership, expertise, and dedication continue to shape trademark administration, and doing this all by running their very own businesses. You won't want to miss it. These impressive women are driving trademark administration forward. The TMA Talk Show is a production of Alt Legal and the Trademark Administrators Exchange. And before we go, a big thanks to our amazing team. Content producer, Tracy Cook. Chief editor, Jernez Owens. Editorial producer, Bree Van Thiel. Social media manager, Sam Hands. And original music by Sunny St. John. This was made by TMAs for TMAs. Until next time, stay inspired, stay curious, and always keep transforming your tomorrow.